Ms. Alvaro? Mr. Delgado?
Present.
Ms. White?
Here.
Ms. Jackson? Here. Mr. Lerma? Ms. Saratelli? Here. Mr. Weaver?
Here.
Mr. Whitley?
Here. Announcements of compliance with Sunshine Law.
We are in compliance.
Welcome to any and all visitors. Reading of the minutes of March 19, 2013. You can take a moment to read.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from March 19th meeting as written and as in our board packet.
Second.
Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson? Yes. Ms. Saratelli? Yes. Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Yes. Treasurer's report, April 2013.
Hello, everyone. The important thing today that we need to discuss is setting a meeting for the budget.
No, that's treasurer's report. Wait. That's not where we're recording it. This is,
budget will come down on the
yeah, the budget that comes down. We're just approving your report that you submitted.
Well, other than that, that's in the committees then.
No, we just need a motion.
Approval of the motion to approve the bills.
Treasurer's report.
Motion to approve the treasurer report as stated.
I second. Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson? Yes. Ms. Saratelli? Yes. Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Yes. Presentation and approval of bills for April 12, 2013.
Going through the rest of them right now. Everything seems in order. Motion to approve the bills as follows, unless anyone has any questions.
I second it.
Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson? Yes. Ms. Saratelli? Yes. Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Yes. Reports of standing committees.
I have a report that I submitted last month. I think everybody got a copy of it, and there are some recommendations that need attention, and I guess that will follow later in the meeting. Thank you.
I mean, if you would like for me to respond to the committee portion, I will.
You want to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went through, the committee went through, who put together the initial changes for circulation, and so we're responding. The first thing that you indicated is that you wanted to see the service for shut-ins. And we will reinstitute it.
Wonderful.
So that, we had no problem with that.
I'm sorry, I can't hear over here online.
One of the first item that the...
That part I heard. I didn't hear
okay.
the answer.
We will reinstitute the shut-in service.
Oh, great.
So,
And how will we do that?
well, what's going to happen is Mr. Hynock will be the person who's always made the arrangements and dropped off the books. We do it one day a week.
Fine.
And so...
By request.
By request. By request. The next thing, what is a mural card? A mural card really is a reciprocal borrowing card. For example, there are a list there is a list, I should say, of libraries that belong to Muriel. Any one of those libraries, their patrons can come here and borrow books, and our patrons can go there and borrow books.
This is an actual physical card, though.
It is a card. We give them a Muriel card.
Because I've
But
used Elizabeth's card in other libraries. They record it and then you just use that card.
Well, it depends on the library.
Okay.
But the only way, because the one part of your thing is, you know, what does one need to do to qualify? The only thing that one needs to do is be a member in good standing of their home library.
Because years
So-
ago, I used to do that. I used to go to.
Well, what
the library
happens
and
if
they-
you-
in
if-
Union County, and they
if you would
accepted
go-
the card.
If you went to another Union County library and you had not used the reciprocal borrowing agreement, you would just say to them, I'm from the Elizabeth Library, we have a reciprocal borrowing agreement with your library. What they usually do is call the home library to see if you have a card and if you're in good standing. And if you are, you're free to borrow our materials. If you're not, you cannot borrow materials from another library until you take care of whatever issues you have at your home library. Okay? You indicated that you feel that e-book borrowing.
Wait a minute, we skipped one. Under what circumstances may a card be issued to a non-paying, non-qualifying applicant?
You must.
Because that was in that.
Well, let me answer
Okay.
that. If it's are we talking about a mural card?
No.
We're off of mural card. See, we raised that because we weren't sure how to handle it. And so what happened was a lady called us. She emailed me from another part of the state. And she actually wanted to be able to borrow ebooks.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And
We
but
decided
You said that
she
somebody
pays
could
the
come
full
in physically
rate.
because you don't know where someone's.
And we're in agreement with that, so we'll make
Okay,
sure that
fine.
the policy reflects that. Okay?
All right, the next point was, we feel that e-books should be, follow the same rules as circulation print materials.
And we agree.
Okay. The board voted 2013 meeting to change non-resident applications to an Elizabeth Library card. The full fee is $50, and they may use it. That's just what we talked about. The fee for replacement of library cards, we suggested it now be $5.
Okay, we talked about this in our committee. The $35 was the other cost for, I just want to speak to being able to buy a library card. It was $35, you raised it to $50, that's fine, that's still a bargain, we feel. The thing that we felt might be a hardship for many of your patrons is to raise the cost for replacement card to $5. Right now it is $1. Many times they can't pay the dollar. And so, and children too, and so one of the things that we would like to suggest to you is instead of just having a flat $5, maybe have a sliding scale. If you lose the card one time, your first time, maybe raise it to $2. If it's the second time, you raise it to maybe
you can make it a $5 one.
exactly. But that's just our feeling from being in the library and dealing with people who have lost cards.
How often are the cards lost about? How many would you say in a year?
I really wouldn't want to venture a guess. It's often.
Because the committee felt that $5 would encourage them to take better care of their card.
It's twofold. It might encourage them to take better care of their card, but it might prohibit them from actually being able to use the library because many times they just don't have $5. I mean, that's our feeling. I'm throwing that out to the board. Whatever your pleasure is, we will, follow through with that and incorporate the policy. Because
I'll go first and then bump it up. What kind of tracking could you do if you did a graduated scale? How would you be able to track the number of replacement cards there were?
every transaction we have online. We can do it. We can track almost anything we want to track. And so we could track it. We absolutely could track it. I can't tell you off the top of my head because I don't really work the circulation desk, but I mean, if I had known that would be a question that would be asked of me, I could tell you how often cards are being lost. But I find that we get a lot of calls for people asking us, can you even waive the $1 or can you let me have a card for a short period of time so that I can do what I need to do and then I will renew the card, but I don't have the money today.
Well, I had another thought on that. If they've lost their card and they have something they need to do with library supplies, they're perfectly able to come in and work in the library.
You're right. But many times they want to check the materials out.
But they'll lose your card.
So,
Okay, the last point that I have on our presentation is in the past, there has been an amnesty day once a year where books could be returned without penalty. This was done to retrieve lost books which otherwise would have to be repurchased or otherwise lost. The amnesty saves the greater cost of repurchasing the books.
we agree.
Pardon me?
We agree.
Oh, okay.
We think it's a wonderful idea. The last time that we did it, the response was not good. But it might be an issue of marketing on our part. So we thought to give you a suggestion that if we just say we would do it every September when there's library card sign-up month,
Well, the problem with that is then people could save up their books till then. It's usually a pop-up day. And it's advertised like a week or so before. Because otherwise, I took out a book last September, but I don't want to pay on it, so I'm going to keep it to this September when it's amnesty. Follow me?
I think people would tend not to do that simply because it would affect their privileges.
Okay.
Is the amnesty, could we get, when people sign up for their card, an email address? And perhaps we could just email out a thing to everyone. Eventually you have to wait for everyone to renew their cards, but right now there is no email taking people apply for a card, correct?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is, sorry.
We requested, would you be surprised at how many people don't want to give their email address because they're inundated already?
Some people do not have any email addresses.
And myself personally, I don't just give mine out indiscriminately anymore because I am overrun with email.
The only address that is required for a library card is your home address, no boxes. Although someone on this board only gives a box, no address. And that's strange because then you couldn't get a library card.
Well, some people have mailing address and some people have.
But it
home
says
address.
very succinctly in the rules, only a home address, no box is valid for a library card.
But if they're not applying for a library card, they can use a PO box. If they're not applying for a library card, they can use a PO box if they like.
And if they do apply for a library card, they have to use an address.
Yes, and we have to have 2 forms of ID with it on there.
Okay.
Okay. So what's going to happen is we would like to go back. We have feedback from the committee. We'd like to go back, update the policy, revise it, and put it online. So at this point in time, the only question that I have for you, well, I have 2 questions. The first one is, what is the board's pleasure as it relates to replacement fee? Because that has to go into the policy before we can. So what is the board's pleasure? The committee has recommended that there be a $5 replacement fee.
I mean, for library card.
For library card, for lost library card. The committee is suggesting to you that based on our experience with patients in the building, it would be a hardship for them to pay $5. And if you don't want to keep it at $1, start with $1 and increase it for each successive time that they lose their card.
How
So-
many
But
times?
yeah, should we put a limit on that? I mean, if they lose it 3 times, it's 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing.
But
You know,
then,
and
but then they would probably, what I would suggest is that they probably pay $5 for going on, like each time, because they still have access, they still have the ability to have a library card. But if they lose it 3 times and it gets to $5 max, every time after that, they're
Yes.
$5.
Yes, that sounds
Sounds good.
I mean, that's
well, I
fine.
think that if they've lost it after the 3rd time, you know, if they lose out 3, you should perhaps suspend them for 3 months and say you can't use the library, and then they'll be very careful not be able to
That's-
do
you
it.
can't do that.
This is good.
I think we should have a graduated, you know, I have to be honest, I lose my debit card and that's all the time. I mean, not all the time, but in the past, I guess 5 years, I could say I might have lost it twice, unfortunately. And things happen, so I'm not saying we shouldn't have any fee, but I do think that considering the school system, we have kids that have free reduced lunch, it would be a hardship and kids might just not come. Parents just might not think it's that important, unfortunately.
I do agree with her on the kids.
You know, I mean, if we want to promote the use of the library, I'm not saying we should just eliminate the fee or that we shouldn't have some type of a scaled one, but I don't think the initial fee should be 5 because I think we're going to steer people away rather than bring them in.
Okay, that's a point. How about 1, 3, and 5?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
that sounds good.
Right?
Wait, I make a motion that we adopt the fee for a library card replacement to initially $1, $3, $5.
$5.
$5.
Yeah.
But what happens after they lose it the 3rd time?
$5.
Keep paying $5.
Oh, you just keep paying? No, because I was just saying that, you know, like to say, well, you can't come in for a month. You know, you can't use it.
Can you do
Can I ask a
Maybe.
question?
I think
that? Is that legal?
Are we penalizing children, or is this just gonna be for adults?
Patrons.
so. It could
Okay,
be,
but children have a separate library card than adults.
But
So if you have children who lose their library card, we're going to charge these children $1, $3, and $5 for library cards?
How old do you have to be to get a library card?
We make it clear to, when a child gets a library card, the parent assumes the responsibility. The parent has to sign for the child, and so if the child loses the card, the parent needs to pay.
Because we don't even let a child in, even a school-age kid, into a library during school hours unless a parent is there and there's, you know, a reason why they're there. So, I mean, there are, you know,
But is that clear, Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
That's the situation. The parents assume the responsibility, not the child.
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor.
Second.
Ms. Alvaro,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
yes.
Ms. Fight,
Yes.
Mrs. Jackson.
Now,
Ms. Saratelli. Yes. Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Mr. Whitley.
Yes.
The only other thing I would like to have clarification on, so I can insert this in the policy, and that is, how do you want us to do the amnesty? You would like for it not to be planned, you would like for it to be at different times,
Once a year is fine,
but not the same time every year.
Yeah.
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
Would it be so terrible every 6 months?
That's too much.
Is
Once
it?
a year is enough.
Oh, okay.
Unless people want it, why?
No, I just thought, you know, that,
Even the state does.
encourage so
The
someone
state
would
does
hold off for a whole
amnesty.
year, you know.
Once every 2 years we do it for taxes.
Right.
Even the state does. Yeah.
Okay, so.
So once a year it should be more than enough.
Once a year at varying times.
Correct.
Okay, and when we decide on that time, we all market it for
For a month.
you know, and let people know. Okay, so I know that you, okayed one aspect of the, but I think we can just go ahead and move along because the other, you want to make a motion to accept the amendments as presented by the Policy and Procedures Committee. Because once you do that, then I have to go ahead and make the policy changes and revise.
I so move.
I make a motion to accept the policy and procedures committee report.
Ms.
No,
White moved.
we-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just second it.
I second.
Thank you.
I can't hear that.
I'll try to talk louder.
Thank you.
Ms. Alvaro,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Yes.
Ms. Fight,
Yes.
Ms. Jackson, Ms. Saratelli,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Woodgate.
Yes.
And Ms. Fight, Mr. Weaver, and Ms. Jackson. The next policy that we will submit to you will be the internet policy, and hopefully we'll have that for you next month. I wanted to wrap this up, and then we'll move to the next one, because that's another one that really needs amendment. Okay, so you'll have that next month, excuse me.
Any other standing committees?
The budget committee. Okay, so we need to meet, the fiscal year does end in June. I have a suggested date for everyone here, May 6th at 5 o'clock, if that's okay with Mrs. Key.
May 6th at 5, it's fine.
Okay.
May 6th.
And Mr. Weaver, if that's okay with you?
No, it's-
And Mr. Whitman, if you want to be there too?
Um,
May 6th at 5, and your offices, Ms. Key, or?
That's fine.
Okay.
May 6th at 5.
Yeah.
Good.
yes, that's right.
Okay.
You said 5?
5 o'clock, yeah. I figured that would give us enough time to all
But
convene.
also you gotta take into consideration that there are people who are staff members who usually get off that would need to be there.
Well, right, that's why I'm at,
Well, I
I'm
talked to
putting it out
Mr.
to
Laurel.
Mrs. Key.
Mr. Laurel is our accounting person and has been such for 20 years, so he really has worked extensively with the budget also. So I talked with him, and he said with notice, he can stay. So
Okay.
I will talk with him tomorrow, and I don't foresee it being a problem.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you, Mrs. Key. And then we'll report, and we should have that in time for the next meeting, for the,
Okay.
for the board.
21st.
Yeah.
And tell me if you think you need something else. We really are not going to do anything more than work from the budget that we have this year. Want the input of the Finance Committee. We'll talk about what our allocation is, and then we can talk about different lines that we have, because there might need to be some adjustments. So I'm looking forward to meeting with the Finance Committee so that we can move forward and get the draft of our budget over to City Hall.
Can we get an updated one of these, it's like it's at the end of April?
That is the updated
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's the most recent one we have
This is as of the 12th of April.
of April.
Right, you couldn't run one at the end of the month?
We could, but we could.
Just for the committee, so you know.
And you know what I'll do, since we're not meeting till May, we'll update it for the end of the month. And then I will, can I email it to you?
Sure.
Yeah, email,
Email it to
Perfect.
you?
Email
Who
it.
else would be on that committee?
Ms. Salermo's on the committee, Mr. Whitman.
Okay, and I can email it to all of you. Okay, well, I will email it, Mr. Weaver, at the end of the month.
Great.
Okay, no problem.
And then any other board member that has any suggestion, you could email me, call me, and I'll make a note of it and present it May 6th.
Okay, very good, thank you.
No other standing committee meetings, right?
No.
As you all know, we had a board member, Ms. Idella LaPierre, pass away. She's been a board member for years here. She truly missed, and we asked Ms. Key to present a resolution on behalf of the library board to her family. And Ms. Saratelli, would you be able to read the resolution?
A resolution of tribute celebrating the life of Idella LaPierre. Whereas the Elizabeth Public Library, Elizabeth, New Jersey, recognizes the passing of Idella LaPierre as a member of the Library Board of Trustees and a tremendous loss for our library, and whereas Mrs. LaPierre was appointed in 1998 and served until her death in 2013. She held the office of President, Vice President, and Secretary, and served with distinction. And whereas Ms. LaPierre's dedication, service, and knowledge of the community was significant in providing direction to serve the informational, instructional, and cultural and technological needs of the citizens of Elizabeth, and be it so resolved that the Elizabeth Public Library issues this resolution to express our deepest sorrow and to recognize the outstanding contributions made by this model citizen to her library and our community at large. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be submitted to the family and a copy be retained in the local history room of the Elizabeth Public Library. April 16, 2013. The Elizabeth Public Library Board of Trustees. John Whitley, President. Veronica Alvaro, Vice President. Eloy Delgado, Treasurer. Lily Fite, Kenyatta Jackson, Letitia Salermo, Pearl Serratelli, Kevin Weaver.
Beautiful. May I make a suggestion? That's very beautiful. Could we put that into our newsletter?
We can.
I think that would be a
We
nice
can.
tribute.
That's very nice. That would be a fitting
Yes,
tribute to
there
her.
was nothing, I had mentioned this originally, I was very surprised that there was nothing in the current newsletter.
Well, one, I am not free to do anything without board approval. That had to come from the board. And so, I just wanted to wait and get direction from you.
All right, so we'll put that in there.
Okay.
Because
We'll
it's very
put the
widespread
resolution
that
in.
people know.
Okay.
Okay,
We have to vote on that resolution.
yeah, you have a motion.
Move.
Second.
Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Fight?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Absolutely.
And Mr. Whitley has the address of her daughter in Georgia. So, since you've passed it, we'll mail it right out tomorrow.
Reports of special committees, no committee meetings, no meetings. The report of the library director.
My report is in your packet, but just to talk about what we're doing. Right now, we are just in the throes of planning for summer reading. And we, as I have indicated, are not only doing, when people think in terms of summer reading, they think in terms of children's programming. But we are doing programming for children, teens, and adults. And so we have a lot of, I think, ambitious things that we're working on. And as soon as we put the finishing touches on them, you'll hear about it probably in May, because it really starts at the end of June. So that's...
Excuse me, are we talking about the new library director?
No, we're talking about summer reading, and this is my report.
I didn't know
This
where
is
you were
my
going
report.
with this. I thought we were running, I'm sorry.
No, this is my report, the present library director.
No, I
And there are displays, if you go through the building, there are displays throughout the building now, because this is National Poetry Month. And so they've got a cute display going on the second floor, so check that out. You get a poem for your pocket. And so we have a selection of poems, and you can choose what you like. Maintenance is just hopping, because we are trying to get the grounds ready. You know, we have beautiful plantings out front, and I think that they're going to be popping very soon with this warm weather. We had the hardest time getting the lights replaced at Elmora. The exterior lights, and it was dark there in the evening. They are not our lights, it's the power company that takes care of those lights, and we fought long and hard to get them out.
I saw somebody up on a library.
But they're operational now. So Mr. Lewis, our new maintenance person, was really, he took care of that. One of the things that we had not had in the library that we've added for sanitary reasons, we had a couple complaints, but all bathrooms now have the seat covers, the disposable seat covers. We've also put the Perel, the hand sanitizer dispensers at strategic locations, and we're ordering them. They're ordered also for the branches, so they will be placed. It's just so hard to keep things sanitary. So we're happy about that, and we've gotten some positive feedback from people who've notice that we've done that. We've changed over our systems. We're ready for the cool weather to go and the hot weather to come. They've come in and gotten the cooling system ready to go. I reported to you last month that the New Jersey Library Conference is coming June 3rd to 5th. I read the minutes and I noted that Ms. White did indicate that board members are welcome to attend.
They have been in the past.
And yes, and so if you, as a board member, have any plans to attend, really, if you go on the website or if you need to talk to me about it, if you want to go, the entire program is online. You might want to, you might see something that's particular to your interest. So that's what we're doing now. I can't ask you to vote on anybody today because the librarians are still trying to figure out who's going when. So I will let you know.
What are the dates?
June 3rd to 5th. June 3rd to 5th.
3rd, 4th, and 5th, right? Those are 1 of the 3 days.
Yep. Now the first day tends to be a day where you are in one workshop. They call it, what do they call it? Pre-conference. The first day, the 3rd, is pre-conference, and you usually have a chance to just pick one topic and you spend the entire afternoon in that. The actual general conference starts on the 4th and ends on the 5th.
Yeah, question, will they have time for like registration and stuff for us? For if staff is going before the next board meeting? I mean, by the next board meeting, will it be registered?
Yes.
Because we have, it's an action item, it's spending money, right?
Absolutely.
So what will we be able to do it in time for, like, will the next board meeting be in time?
Yes. Well, the next board meeting is May 21st.
Yeah, but
So
you
is
have
that-
to have
that-
reservations in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm
we
asking.
have
Yeah,
to.
when
So what is it going to be
when
like?
can you put in a reservation?
Usually the library, there usually are no reservations simply because they usually go one day.
Gotcha.
Because we can't have,
But the board can go for the 3 days if they choose.
Okay, I get it, all right.
So in other words, if we pick out at the next, we show it which the members want to go at the next meeting, we could say.
you will know.
Okay.
You will
Or if
know.
you want to go for the whole convention, you as a board member may go and stay at the hotel, and the board has historically picked up the whole bill.
Okay,
So,
that's it. That's my report.
reading of communications?
Okay, I'm putting this on the communications because I don't really know where else to put it, but there has been there was an antitrust settlement against Bristol Myers Squibb and the state of New Jersey, and the state won, and the monies, the $157,000 is going to be divided among public libraries. And simply, all we had to do was say we're interested. And so we will get a portion of that money when they divvy it up. Don't quote me on it, but I think we stand to get $1,500. We are bound to pay, to buy books that talk about ovarian cancer, breast cancer, Kaposi sarcoma, and non-small cell lung cancer. So, we have something to spend the books on. I'm sure that had to do with the suit. So I just wanted the board to know that we are participating and we will be purchasing books on those subjects. Okay? The other thing that I have is I had an email that came from the YWCA, Eastern Union County. They are applying to the state of New Jersey for a Stop Violence Against Women Act grant program for funding of the position of senior shelter advocate. And they go on to say that the YWCA, Eastern Union County, is the lead domestic violence agency in Union County, providing comprehensive services to victims of domestic violence. What do they want from the library? This is not uncommon for people who write grants. They would like for us to write a letter in support of their grant application And what they say relative to us is the Elizabeth Public Library has been an important public resource for the community. Our mission is to provide services, resources, and collections, and to serve as a focal point for the community's lifelong educational, informational, cultural, and recreational needs. So they basically want us to write a letter in support of their application. And so certainly I could not do that without bringing it before you and getting your feedback.
I see why not.
What do they do?
Do we know what they're, does anyone have the?
It's a nonprofit, and they do support. They have, the YWCA also has shelter for domestic violence, for mothers with children. They also provide services to people, women who are.
Do we know how well it's run and stuff?
Oh, very well.
Yeah,
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Okay.
Very well.
Good.
Very well.
Well, I say great.
Make a motion.
Motion to approve a letter of support for the YWCA.
I second the motion.
Ms. Alvaro,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Yes.
Ms. Fight,
Yes.
Ms. Jackson,
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Whitley.
Yes.
Okay, we have another letter from the Trinitas Regional Medical Center, and they indicate that Trinitas Regional Medical Center's 9 South Unit has implemented a new program for the prevention of delirium in patients 65 and older. And what they're requesting from us is if we would consider donating any unwanted book/reading materials to our program. The patients would greatly benefit from Spanish and English books and magazines. We would also welcome the donation of audio books as well. So that I bring that to the board.
And who is this?
This is the Trinitas Regional Medical Center.
Oh,
There's a lot of books down in Elmora, right?
Well, what happens is we have books that we are discarding. When we're discarding books that are in good condition, what we normally do with them is put them in our ongoing book sale. And the funds that we raise from those, the sale of those books, we use it to buy new books.
How much money does that usually generate? I know it's not for you, but
It's
how
not-
much
it's not
generate?
It should be right in.
They sell the books for
It's
55
in there.
cents.
I think it was something like $400 for the, no, really.
Did you find
Like the color print.
The other thing is, some of the books that are donated to us
That's what it was.
are in quite good condition. And again, we take those books and we put
So far
them
this
in our
year.
ongoing book sale. And the money that's generated, we funnel it back into the library.
Patrons donate books?
Given the budget situation, well, in general, should we be giving out a cash generating?
Well, the thing is, we want to take the best for our sale.
Right.
And we certainly don't want to be in a position where we offer them the leftovers. Because if we're going to send them something, we want to send them something nice. But as Mr. Weaver has indicated, we really, it is cash generating.
I did, according to the
It
report,
is.
it's like $527 so far this year.
So it's cash generating. And so I wanted to bring it to your attention. My recommendation as director is that money is needed. It's needed for here. And so some of the books that we have donated, quite frankly, people just don't know what else to do with them. Many times they're just good for us to take to recycling.
Could we perhaps put up a poster for them saying if anyone wants to donate books to go directly to them, but should support them somehow that way
I mean,
perhaps?
I'm sure there's some books that don't sell. Like, there has to be some books that just sit there for 25 cents one.
What about just the specific ones that get donated to the library?
We use them.
You
Those
do?
are the ones
You
we
do
sell.
Okay.
Well, one thing we don't sell are periodicals, if they're in
We
any
do not
shape.
sell magazines.
So that they can have those.
But we keep them for at least a year.
Oh,
We
never
keep-
mind.
We keep the
Yeah, they're on
back
file.
issues. We keep the back
They're on
issues.
file for
Oh, we
reference.
Are there books
They're
that,
on file for reference.
Yeah.
are there books that, for example, maybe were donated and have been with us for a very long time and just do not sell?
Yeah.
Maybe?
They're gonna take librarians
Usually
time
the
to
ones that
call them.
don't sell, nobody
Who's gonna
wants.
track it?
But maybe they'll use them though.
Maybe
Those that
somebody
don't
doesn't
sell.
want to buy it, but when you're laying in a hospital, you know, there are
Right.
people that they'll read.
Yeah, but the
everything.
problem is that it'll take library personnel to go through them and see what's what, because they're just in the bins now.
I mean, I know that the books that we have, that come, that are in pristine condition, because people sometimes buy books, read them, and give them to us, and they sell immediately. And so, I just don't think that in this day and age of shrinking budgets, we can take.
What happens to the books that are donated to the branches, not to the main?
They come here.
They all come here?
They all
Because
come here.
I see people, and no more, they bring in boxes of.
They all come here because we are, this is a central place. They don't have the staff to handle them at Elmore. But you know what, I think that the idea, if you would like for us to try, we don't have to donate all the books, but if
Right.
we could periodically, I think it would be a good way to reach out to another organization. We really do want to partner with organizations, and it's a worthwhile
Exactly.
cause.
I agree.
So we could, we're not going to send them all, but on a periodic basis, we could send
But you can
them.
send
Once-
some of them,
some
at least
books. Quite,
out there,
a few.
you know?
Couple.
Because I know being in the hospital, I know how, I always bring books, but some people, they can't wait for the book cart to come
Right.
around, you know, it's like a lifeline.
And the thing is, Ms. White made the point, and it's true, that you will need staff to go through them, because you don't want to send things over there that we don't want on our shelves. We're not giving them what we don't want. So it's a commitment of time. We can say that we're going to do it at a specified time. Okay.
The only other thing we can do to save time is have a volunteer do that, if we can get one.
How many
From the
volunteers
high
are
school.
we getting this
No, we get
organization?
community service in the high school.
The high school here, the kids need,
They
come.
need hours,
they
yeah.
require hours
They
to
come.
graduate.
Your people are with us all the time. They come and volunteer in the teen department because they have to have
The hours,
so many
yeah.
To graduate.
service
Well,
hours.
that's
But will a
just-
teenager really know which would be?
I think a high school kid will know as well as a layman.
I'm sorry.
We'd make sure that even if we had them do it, we'd
That's a
have
good
a
idea.
trained eye to go through and make sure it's okay.
Yeah, I agree.
We could give them the criteria that we're looking for, the date of the book, we could tell them the type of subject matter we're looking for, and they can do the initial scan for us. But
And then
before
you
we
can
send
look at the
anything
book.
out of the building, we would look at them. But I do think we should try
I think we
to
should.
help them out.
So motion to,
In obtaining your degree to be a librarian, do you have to do an internship?
We do, that there are internships, yes.
Do we provide that service here? Because that's another way of someone,
needs to get up to speed.
Right.
I got you.
The problem with us is that there is not a library school nearby. They usually, in this area, they're going to Rutgers in New Brunswick. And they usually volunteer in area libraries in Middlesex County because it's just convenient for them. Many times it's a hardship for them to come up here because we don't pay them. It's just time, and so they try to go to a place that's convenient to where they live and go to school. But they do have internships, they definitely do. Doesn't mean we can't try to ask, because somebody might actually be commuting.
Or a
down to
summer,
New
or a
Brunswick.
summer
That's
internship.
true.
Yeah, because a lot of people commute down there.
So
A lot of people, most
maybe-
people are doing, it seems, are doing online now.
Right.
So, but anyway,
During the summer, I always see we have, you know, young people there at the library, you know, working with the shelves and putting books in order, or whatever it is they're doing. And there are a lot, you know, there are volunteers usually during the summer months.
We need an action item for what to do.
we just need to make a motion that we would like to cooperate with Trinitas to provide them books on a you know, periodic
I so
basis.
moved.
Second.
You get that, Alexa?
Finished.
Uh-huh.
Finished.
Ms. O'Gara?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Fight?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli? Yes. Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Yes. Unfinished business? Oh, you said that was it.
That was it for my report.
For your report, all right.
And that was with correspondence, actually. We're on old, we're on old business.
Yes.
Old business.
It should be at the very back.
Are we still on old business?
We just started.
We just started.
Yeah.
Oh,
Could I make a suggestion? I noticed Mr. Saratelli and I are both having trouble hearing. Could we change the configuration here? Because it seems we're very spread out. And to hear each other speak sometimes, especially for those of us who have little aids, it is difficult. I know Mrs. Key has a very soft voice, and sometimes it's difficult to hear exactly what she's
I
saying.
thought I was booming, Mr.
No, not to me anyway.
See, unless you're actually facing me, every time you turn, I can't hear.
Can you hear
I can hear
everybody
your
else in
voice,
the
but I
room?
can't make out the
Is it
words.
just me you can't
It's
hear?
the acoustics in this room. The room is too big and there are too few of us.
We're too far apart.
How would you
Well,
like
that's
for
what I
us
said.
to, would you
Let
just
the
like to
tables
have
be-
all the tables just grouped
Put us
together?
Together.
I would love to have it in the boardroom. I think that board table and the shape and the size of the room is perfect for our small group.
The only issue is, now that you're taping it, it has to be open to the public. And it's fine if it's just
Well, the
us.
public has plenty of room.
So,
Well, it's all right, but let's take out one of these and move us closer together so that, you know, in the center here, so that we're,
I mean, if everyone
Closer to
showed up,
one
how
another.
many people would we have?
None.
Boom,
What do
boom.
you mean?
What are you talking about? You mean board members?
Yeah.
There are 8 of you now.
There's 8,
Without
and you 2 is 10.
Uh-huh.
So we should be able to get 10 people on a tighter setup in here, you know, and that way the public can still
How
come.
would you like for us to do it, Mr. Weaver?
I have no idea.
Take out.
Take out one
Take out
table.
a table.
Take out at least
Take out a
one.
table.
Maybe just do
then
those
you get
two,
closer.
these
The
two,
same
and
way
then
we
one.
are.
And then one, yeah.
Make a smaller
Yeah.
horseshoe.
Okay, just not this far apart.
Make a smaller horseshoe.
Because we have excess space over here.
Okay.
Right.
We'll try a new configuration, see how it works next month.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll tighten it up.
Right, just tighten it.
But when I say a different configuration, I mean something different from this.
I'm making like I'm an artist here.
But I understand what you're saying, and we'll tighten it up.
Great.
We'll let Mr. Lewis know.
Security?
Security system, boy, I am not happy about what's happening with the security system. Well, the problem is Mr. Powers, who has been the person that I've been in touch with and who's worked with me this entire time, he has left Tyco. The conditions of the system, you know, nothing is going to change. It's just that, you know, how you get used to a person. He had been here, we knew him, he talked to us, and so on and so forth. So right now, they're getting ready to set me up with a new person. And so it's on track, we're moving forward, we have the money, but it's just that with Mr. Powers, because I couldn't understand why I hadn't heard from Mr. Powers. I reached out to him, and so a new person called me from Tyco and said that he has moved on. And so they're very interested still in working with us. The state contract is the state contract, that is not changing. So the figures that you were quoted will remain the same, but we just have to have a new person come in to carry it out. So that's where we are on that.
But the configuration that he set up and everything stays.
Oh,
They've
absolutely.
installed something, so yeah.
No, they haven't installed anything.
With the door, I thought I saw in the bills that with the door lashes or it seemed
Oh,
like
that's the Rawway entrance.
Oh,
The
okay.
Rawway entrance needed a new hinge
Got it.
because it was falling off.
I was just assuming because of the security system.
No,
maybe they-
that was the
Got it.
Matthew lock came in because we couldn't really secure the door at night.
Right.
The pins had to be adjusted and they had to put a new hinge on the door. So that's what you saw.
Understood.
Mr. Alvaro, do you want to take over?
Yes, so we're good on the security system, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, circulation policy,
We just talked
We
about
talked
that.
about
we did that already. The budget for fiscal year 2013-2014. 17th?
We talked about it. We're doing it in 2 weeks.
And the conference, we're
We
going
talked about that.
to
And we talked about that.
the
Well,
next meeting,
Wait,
right?
is there something?
I have
Oh,
a,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to, for chairmen of all the committees, I know that some don't know exactly what their committee is supposed to do or whatnot, Mr. Whitley, so I didn't know if there was a date, or maybe you could just explain to us like what each chairman is responsible for.
You don't have it in your bylaws.
Well, Mrs. Key.
Oh, we don't have it
It was
specific.
requested.
Right.
It was requested.
And you said it was going to be in the package. but-
No, but I can't give it to you because you don't have it in your bylaws.
So we have to define it.
I can't make it up. You have to define it. It's never been defined. You have standing committees, they're pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, some of
But
them.
if you want to define them for your board, you have to do that. That's policy
See.
and
Okay, we
procedures,
understand
but
that.
they're not in your bylaws.
Understood.
Okay, another meeting. There's something else that isn't on the list that has been mentioned in the minutes, and that is a disabled, at least one entrance for disabled people. And the ADA said that it is law, and they were very surprised that the architects, when they took over this, revamping this building, didn't let us know that we needed a disabled entrance.
They really were not concerned about the entrance.
Well, the law
They
is
just-
concerned about
But-
the entrance,
but
and we
Ms.
have to
Ms. White,
have it.
let me just say this. I read in your minutes, and trust me, I went through those minutes with a fine-tooth comb, and I am going to address your issue. I am going to make it clear that the architect was not here to do doors. He was here to do the repointing of the bricks and the facade. That was the contract.
Okay,
Now,
now,
but let me
what
just,
about the
but let me
doors?
just say this, but I responded to your contention that they were supposed to do it. It wasn't in the contract. You need to know that. As far as the doors are concerned, we are looking into it. I just found out about it in the minutes, and we are getting quotes, and we're looking into it.
Good.
And that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
And I will bring you that information in May.
That's good. It was me. Not Mrs. White.
I don't know who it was, I just read it.
No, because the advocates for the Americans with Disability Act had said that it's supposed to be there, and my thought was, well, you know, this is a historic building. They said, no, the federal law says that if a historic building is restored and renovated, you have to put in
That is
doors
if you're dealing with
and I
a
don't know.
specific issue at hand. Because if you go downstairs and you look at your public restrooms, they are as far away from being disabled, disability accessible. Once you touch those bathrooms, then you have to bring them up to code. And it's individual. As you go through the building, we have never touched the hallway doors, never touched them. So I am still getting you the information you
Okay,
requested.
that's fine.
But
That's fine
ADA says if you touch them, we're grandfathered in, but if you touch them, then you have to bring them up to code. That has not been the case with the hallway doors. But I'm still going to bring you the information so the board can see what you're dealing with. I mean, I think it would be a wonderful thing to have it, whether it's required or not. So we'll look into that and follow through on that for you, okay?
That's good.
Okay, thank you. We did that. We did everything in old business.
Oh, I have something for old business. Mrs. Key, when the patron from last time came in about the computer delay, was that addressed or was?
It's in the hands of our IT person.
Okay.
You need to understand that we have spoken to Mr. Weiss on more than one occasion. Mr. Lopez has spoken to Mr. Weiss, but Mr. Weiss wants to hear what he wants to hear. So when he wasn't satisfied, he came to the board. But I did not, we still didn't give him the back of our hands. Mr. Lopez was apprised of what he articulated in this meeting, and we haven't seen him in the building since he made the complaint. But we are aware of his concerns. We've spoken to him about them on more than one occasion. He is convinced that somebody is tampering with his information.
Oh,
And certainly that's not the case. And so what will happen is Mr. Lopez and I, when we see him, we'll sit down and we will try to talk with him so that he understands. A lot of times when you try to explain things to people, if it's not what they want to hear, then you didn't help them. So trust me, we're trying to do everything we can to satisfy.
So the computers aren't cheating patrons of their time?
Computers are not cheating patrons of their time. Mr.
That's what I'm
Weiss is
concerned
the
about.
only person that I have on record who says that we're cheating. It's done automatically, and it gives you a heads up. Your session is about to end.
As long as everything's okay then.
So no, trust me, we are not trying to cheat patrons of their time. We just have so many people coming in here using our computers that we ask you to adhere to the 2 hours.
Right.
Which I think is more than generous, because if you go through the county, you'll see that we have a very generous.
it needs to be happening.
And we do it because we have so many computers. Thanks to the Gates Foundation, we have, a number of computers, so we're able to give you 2 hours. But 2 hours is an appreciable amount of time. And people make reservations online. And so what happens is people say, well, I didn't see them here, but you can sit in your house and make a reservation to come into this building at 10 o'clock because you want to have a computer. And if you reserve it, we get you on.
I know, so most people on Laura, that's what they do.
I didn't know that actually.
They reserve your time.
They block it out for you, and your number's on there at your time, and no one else can pop it.
Yeah, that's actually really convenient. Good job.
But you know what happens is a lot of times people come in, and I understand, everything is done online now. Everything is done online. And so you just can't, when you're trying to do, find a job, when you're trying to answer your email, when you're trying to do your social media stuff, you just run out of time. But we're on top of that, Mr. Delgado. Okay.
New business?
State aid report. The state aid report has been sent. And state aid is a statistical report that I have to do every single year for the state library if we are to get state funds.
How much is that?
To give you an idea, when I came here almost 8 years ago, we were getting $150-some thousand, give or take a few dollars. Last year we got $50-some thousand. But $50,000 is still $50,000. And so we have done what we needed to do. So the check comes in October.
Are there strings attached?
No, there are no strings attached. So that's the state aid report. Just want you to, and the city hall sends in the supporting documentation they have to send in, so we're good to go.
We already talked about the grant opportunity, antitrust stuff.
Yeah.
We discussed that. Newsletter?
Okay, library newsletter. I really don't know how you guys are going to respond to this, but I'm going to throw it out there. We distribute the newsletter on a quarterly basis, and it's expensive to send it through the mail. And we have quite a few people on our mailing list. What we have tried to do is when people come, if they have an email address, we ask them, would you please give us your email so we can send you the newsletter electronically if you're getting it in, by snail mail. The other thing is the newsletter is on the website immediately. And so I'm just throwing it out there for the board to consider. If we stop sending the newsletter through the post office, and if we just send it electronically, it costs well over $1,000 every quarter to send that, and it's online. And that's the reduced rate.
That is the reduced rate?
That is the reduced rate, and it is in this building at the different information carrels where you can come into the building and pick up a hard copy if you want one. I'm just throwing that out.
Now, I know a great many senior citizens, and they have it in their hand, they keep it in their pocketbook, they refer to it for week after week. It's really It's really something we look forward to. It was a lady today, in fact. Let me ask a question about the newsletter, not to digress. When the newsletter goes out, before it goes out, does it go to department heads to make sure that everything is correct on there?
The department heads submit the information, and we try to make certain it's correct. Did you see something that was incorrect? What's incorrect?
Apparently, that's what the poor lady was complaining about today. She said that in the newsletter, it said that the movies that were going to be on in Elmora, they list them every Tuesday of what the movies are. Yet also it says alternate Tuesdays at 11:30, so it says two different things. So she said she called here yesterday and she spoke to some gentleman and he never could give her an answer.
You said Elmora?
This was at Elmora today.
But I'm saying the issue was at Elmora? The issue was for...
Yes, for the Elmora, the movie at Elmora.
Mr. Barbanel, your branch manager, he handles that. So for them to call the main library,
well,
they wouldn't know.
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm talking, it's an older woman. I'm going to go call here, go call there.
Branch manager. Anything that happens in the branches, Mr. Barbanel is your person.
But apparently there were
Do
two
we have
different
copies
things
of the
written.
newsletter at the branches?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, they're there.
Absolutely.
So they're available to the public to pick
They're-
up if they really that hot for one?
Absolutely. Whatever we do at the main library, we do at the branches. So they're available at all the branches and they're available here. And the way of the world, quite frankly, is electronic.
And I also can put it on your Facebook page, that's generally.
It is on,
you know,
I think it.
I don't think so,
No,
not yet.
no,
We
not
post
yet.
the events,
post it, yeah,
we
but
post
not
events,
that.
but not the actual newsletter. But like everything is going electronically.
I don't know, maybe I'm old fashioned, but I like receiving it in the mail. I don't know.
It costs the
I
library
know.
almost $5,000 a year to do it. When it's online, it's in the information carols, and
It's a way to get our,
but judging from
Everybody doesn't
the,
have access to online.
But they do have it in the branch.
if you come to the library, it's there, physically there. But you know what, it's really a board decision. So it's your pleasure.
discussion?
So we're making copies, are we printing the newsletter or are we just making photocopies of them that are accessible in the branches?
We make photocopies.
I don't
When
think
we
that's
send-
the question. I think the question was supposed to be.
The question is the postage. We have them printed at Staples for mailing out.
Right. I asked
Right, but that costs money.
I asked that question because I'm thinking that if we're still having them printed, then why are we still having them printed if we're not going to be mailing them? That's why I asked if they're photocopy or are they coming from the printer themselves?
What happens is we have them printed when we know that we're doing a mass mailing, because we have a mailing list and we send it to everybody on the mailing list. What we would do if we were doing it in-house is we would print them as needed to keep the information carol supplied. Because many people do go online and just read it online.
Yeah, I hate getting mail in my house.
Really?
I hate it. I just get a big pile of paper and just get rid of it and throw it in the garbage. I'd rather see it online and save trees.
Well, I'm going to tell you, based on what we send out in response to our programming, it doesn't gel. It doesn't gel. It's not bringing people to our program. They might be getting it, but they're not coming to the program as a result of reading it. And the newsletter basically is about program offerings at the library.
Well, then why don't we just send it to request email and send it to those who will, get it by email, and then send it to the others who don't. Maybe you'll cut it in half.
Or an opt,
Make it.
they could opt
option.
to get it, but, like, get everyone off of it, but if they come and request it to get it by mail, then honor the request. Does everyone understand what I mean?
Yeah. But then you've got to get somebody who's going to manage that list. As people move, or they, pass
Well, you would have
away,
to
whatever, who's going to keep the
No,
list
yeah,
current?
we have to manage it as is.
Anyway.
Not if it's online and there are hard copies in the branches.
No, but I'm saying we do it already. We manage all these addresses already.
Yeah,
So if we just move all online, which is fine.
Is the list called once a year or anything, or is it once you're on the list, you're on there forever?
We usually depend on people to contact us and tell us
Right,
about
so-
their names.
so we
Or
can- we
if
can be
it's,
mailing it to people,
if the newsletter is returned to us,
Right.
then we take them off the list. Otherwise, we would have no.
But like if an elderly person comes and says, I don't have access, whatever, I can't, can you please
Or
mail
they
it to
can't
me?
even read the computer. You
They
know,
can
for
come
people
to the
who really
branch and
can't-
pick up
it's
a
hard.
newsletter. We're not getting rid of the newsletter. They can just come to the branch and get the newsletter.
If you want a hard copy, it's there for
It's
you.
here.
But why should we have to mail it?
I say to my,
Yeah.
I say to my library, I say to my department heads all the time, you cannot be a 20th century library in the 21st century. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. You have all these, you have it at your disposal to just post it on your website. You can read, most people do have access to a computer, and if they don't, we have them all over the system. And I'm still pulling people, even in my professional staff, to understand that we've got to get to the 21st century.
I think the newsletter, the point, what's the objective of the newsletter? To give the news about the library. So if you care about the library and the news that we're distributing, then you're gonna either be okay with getting it online, and if you don't have access and you need a hard copy, you can come to the library and get it. That's just my thought.
And basically,
It's not like it's an advertisement, it's just a newsletter to say, this is what we're doing.
and if you're getting this stuff, that means that the people who are receiving those newsletters come and visit the library. They use the library. You know, if it's here, it's kept
The
in the library.
return on the investment is not apparent in the attendance of the programs.
Gotcha.
They're just not coming. Not based on the number that we send out in the programs, the attendance of the programs.
I make a motion that we stop sending the newsletter via mail.
I'll second the motion.
Ms. Alvaro,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Nay.
Ms. Fight,
Right.
Ms. Jackson,
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli,
No.
Mr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Whitley.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-3.
Benches, South Georgia.
Okay.
And we can revisit, if you get complaints or something, we can revisit this later on.
How about if we table it for the end of the year and continue it on this year?
The vote
And not
just
do it
passed.
right away?
The vote just passed.
Was the vote to do it right away?
The vote was to stop electronic transmission.
And so in other words, immediately right now, we're going to stop?
What we just, it's what the board would like to decide. You can add an addendum to the motion. The motion as it was on the floor passed. But let me say this. We just sent out a newsletter for April, May, and June. Another newsletter was not slated to go out until July. If it is the board's pleasure to just not stop cold and say, to give our patrons a heads up that with the third quarter, the publishing of the third quarter newsletter, all newsletters then will be sent electronically. Please contact the library if you're interested in receiving an electronic transmission. What do you think?
That sounds better.
That sounds better, because then those who want it sent to them or really want it know they have to come to the library to get it. And I would say also, not just email and website, but also on the Facebook, like add a link to the website.
Well, I
So
want to
basically
ask a
something that
question.
I'm
What
on.
if somebody calls up and they tell you that it really is a hardship over a computer and they would like you to please mail them a copy? And what if 50 people say that? Are you going to say we shouldn't spend the postage for them?
Well, I mean, this is.
No, I'm asking.
It's a board
All right, I'm asking the
I mean,
board.
the board has to answer.
It's
Instead of-
available
instead of
in the
3,000.
library. Like, they're getting access to the newsletter. We're providing that.
Why would somebody who's not going to the library want a copy of the newsletter?
They keep it so they know when. They're not going to be here for a month, but they know, okay, in a month from now, they're having such and such a program, and they'll go. It doesn't mean that, you know.
So once every 3 months, they have to go to the library to get that quarter's newsletter.
But I know people, they
think that's
really, they walk
unreasonable.
around with it like a Bible.
So motion to add the addendum, to continue it until one more quarter of the newsletter and letting people know in the newsletter. that-
Put a notice that this is the last one
Right.
emailed, yeah.
I think that's the thing.
I second it.
Ms. O'Hara? Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Fight?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
The last thing that is on new business is, I put benches because I didn't know what to put. Let me bring to your attention what is happening. If you remember, before we did the renovation, there were steps where people could sit in front of the library.
Yes.
Right.
Those were removed. It was a board decision to remove them.
Correct.
The only thing that is left are steps that are used to get in and out of the building. So you cannot have people sitting there because it interferes with flow.
People sit.
And so,
I see him today.
as I bring this to you, I do it with mixed emotions because I wanted to say to you that people have said, I'm waiting for the bus, I'm old, I can't stand. I need to be able to be someplace where the bus, I can see the bus as it approaches. We don't want benches in front of the building, I don't think. Do we?
No, because it's turned, in the past when we had places to sit,
We
it's
had-
turned into a hangout. And I remember I had to really walk the gamut of all kinds of unsociable behavior just to get in and out of the building. I'm sure I wasn't the only person.
That was the reason why we discontinued.
That's why we took the benches away, and it cost us a lot of money to
All
redo that.
people are yelling and screaming.
Well, that's not the library's business,
I
that's the
admit.
city's business.
But let me ask you
New Jersey
this.
Transit, New Jersey Transit.
This was the reason that I brought it to you. As an alternative, we don't want benches in front of the building. If you can envision where the Broad Street entrance is for the parking lot.
Okay.
There is fencing that runs from the Broad Street
Yeah.
parking lot, heading down to Supremos, till you
Right.
get to the bridge.
Right.
Right.
Do we want to put benches there, board, or do we not?
No,
I think we're gonna.
Because then we're responsible for maintaining them all.
That'll be
and if
Yeah,
somebody
but
falls
again,
off of it, there he
yeah.
goes.
And I actually see it as somebody's bed.
Oh,
It will
when
be
I-
someone's bed.
Trust me, when I used to come to work in the morning, when we had those steps in front of the building, people would be sleeping. They would be sleeping, fast asleep.
I think if they need somewhere to sit while waiting for the bus, that's a transit company's call, and that's who they should ask.
Right, they have it on Broadway Avenue over there, don't they have a?
They do have a-
for-
yeah.
For something, well, if.
Transit has a little booth
Make a
there.
request to the transit company to do it on Broad Street too,
Yeah.
go around the corner.
They do.
I mean, if they're waiting in front of the donut shop, do they pass through the donut shop or somewhere to sit and wait for the bus?
But you know what I think it is, Ms. Fight? I think it's the history that we used to have it.
Mhm.
But
And
we
now
didn't
you
have
took
it
it
for
away.
that long. We only had it for a very short time.
Wait.
And it was a very, very bad element. You couldn't even walk in and out. It was really terrible.
I admit,
Going in and out
when
of
I
the
was a teenager coming here, me and my friends would hang out on those steps.
That was-
Yeah.
It's one of those.
We would.
Oh, bad
I like to see
It's all right.
you know, but
That wasn't that long.
Well, we have received a number of complaints. We have been, I talked to one lady and she said, I'm going to the mayor.
Good.
And so I just knew that I needed to bring it to the board so that you would be aware that, and now that the weather is changing, people want to sit there. Security has been informed that they are to keep the stairs clear.
May I make a
Because can't get in and out.
We didn't find that older people were sitting there.
No, they were
really
young men.
thugs.
Yeah, people like to look at
Mrs. May I make a suggestion? The next time you get a complaint like that, the rest
I love
of the
that.
parents come.
I wasn't a thug.
No. I'm sure you didn't do what a lot of things were doing there, you know?
We're just
Okay.
playing.
So no benches.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I hear you loudly and clearly.
Okay, comments from the public? Seeing there's no public. A motion to go into closed session?
Second.
I'm asking.
Oh, a motion to go into closed session. Person.
Second.
Ms. Alvaro.
Yes.
Mr. Delgado.
Yes.
Ms. White.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli.
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Mr. Wickett.
Yes.